If tonight is a grenade, my name's already on the pin. I kill the engine of my matte gray Rivian and step into Colorado air so crisp it could crack glass. The pine smell hits first, then that altitude bite I used to mistake for anxiety. Ahead, the Canyon Ridge Heritage Club glows under a tangerine sunset, stone pillars, too much glass, the kind of place that makes you talk quieter. Inside, 119 people and a birthday cake for a woman who once taught me how to take a punch without raising my fists. 6 years. That's how long since I ghosted the Whitfield clan with nothing but a cheap laptop and a dare lodged behind my teeth. Watch me. My phone buzzes. Miles Carter, my COO, is not a casual texter. A G confirmed Ruth's audit matches their findings. Warrant signed, could be tonight. Attorney General, warrant, tonight. The words should scare me, but something colder slides in. Not revenge, not exactly. More like the clean click of a seatbelt before acceleration. Inevitable, controlled, deadly safe. I smooth the lapel of my midnight blue blazer, custom cut, worth more than my car used to be, not that anyone here would guess, and catch my reflection in the glass doors. No trace of the girl they wrote off. I'm RJ Vale now, CEO of Iron Harbor Security, the company they've never Googled because denial is cheaper than data. The doorman nods. My hand trembles anyway. Nostalgia shakes harder than whiskey. The last time I sat at a Whitfield table, mahogany wider than some Brooklyn apartments, my father, Stephen, asked when I'd stop playing coder and get a serious job. My mother, Lila, clinked her glass like a judge with a gavel. Why can't you be more like your sister? Brielle soaked up the spotlight with that Miss Charity smile, offered me a part-time assistant gig at her nonprofit like she was tossing a coin at a busker. They called it an opportunity. I called it my breaking point. I walked out, blocked numbers, returned holiday cards unopened. I turned rage into capital and built Iron Harbor in a cramped walk-up where the heat rattled and the Wi-Fi didn't. We protect hospitals, water districts, and election systems. People sleep because my team doesn't. The doors swing and a couple floats past in formal wear that probably has a trust fund attached. They don't recognize me. Why would they? In Whitfield lore, I'm the cautionary tale, the daughter who ran from family duty and squandered her potential banging on a keyboard. My phone buzzes again. You sure you want to walk in? I can run point from here. I grin. Miles is the brother I chose when the genetic lottery came up short. I text back. I'm in. Thanks. I step toward the entrance, let myself feel the fear, then shove it into the passenger seat. I'm not 25 and begging anymore. I'm 31 with a payroll, federal clearances, and the kind of calm that comes from saving cities while your relatives argue about centerpieces. 3 days ago, the fuse lit. The warning arrived like a landmine in my inbox. Brielle's planning something for Grandma Ruth's party. Says she's going to expose you. Cousin Danny. Expose what? I've been silent for 6 years. No posts, no drama, nothing they could twist. I forwarded the text to Miles, and 2 hours later he showed up with that look that means buckle up. She hired Ridgewood and Hale, he said, dropping a folder on my desk. Private investigators, expensive. She got Colton Hale, the ex-FBI guy. Financial forensics, straight arrow. And he's very good. He followed the money like it owed him child support. I stared at the folder, nausea nosing around the edges. Everything I've kept split, RJ at work, Rowan with a history threatened by one relentless paper trail. Miles softened. He found you, the Forbes list, our valuation, your role. He also found. He exhaled through his nose. Her theft. The room tilted. Theft? 400 plus from her nonprofit over several years, and 20 grand siphoned from the Whitfield family fund. Colton's obligated to report. He already has. The AG opened a case. That would have been enough irony to choke on. But 20 minutes later, my phone lit up with a call from a number I didn't recognize and a voice I knew too well. Rowan, my mother said, as if my name tasted like vinegar. You're not welcome at your grandmother's party. It's not about you. Don't make it about you. She hung up before I could say, cool story. Then the next call came from a number I will always answer. Sweetheart, Grandma Ruth said, her voice the same blend of gravel and sunlight it's always been. I heard they tried to uninvite you to my birthday. Nonsense. And just so you're not blindsided, I commissioned the audit. I didn't trust your sister's math when she bought that second SUV. My copies are already with the state. I had to sit down. I'm old. Not oblivious, she added. I love my grandchildren. I tolerate thieves the way I tolerate cold pea soup. Grandma? Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I wanted to see who warned who, she said. Now get yourself to my party. Wear something that says you're not apologizing for breathing. I promised I would. Now here I am, palm on brass, stepping into a ballroom that smells like expensive flowers and denial. Conversations skitter to a halt. People blink. More than a few mouths drop. The music hiccups and then keeps pretending this is normal. I don't rush. I move through the room with the unhurried pace of someone exactly where she's supposed to be. I nod to the people who used to pity me. It's amazing what a straight spine can do to a rumor. Brielle stands near the band, perfect as a catalog photo, raising a champagne flute like a conductor, cueing the first violins. Her face drains when she sees me. For a second, I almost feel sorry for her. Then I remember whose pockets she cut and whose cause she looted. Ladies and gentlemen, she trills into the mic, bright as LED. We're here for Ruth's 79th and to welcome back someone who's been distant. There's not enough frosting in the state to sugarcoat that. She turns the crowd with practiced sorrow. Family means showing up for each other, even when someone forgets where they come from. There it is. The pre-planned public shaming dressed as a speech. 6 years ago, I would have tried to defend myself, offered up my accomplishments like coupons to skeptical cashiers. Tonight I sip water and let her talk. Truth doesn't need a closing argument. Half the room nods along. Habit is powerful. The other half watches me to see if I crack. I don't. Danny slides up beside me and squeezes my elbow. You look like the CEO of Gravity, she whispers. If you need a getaway car, I know a guy. I smirk. I brought my own. Across the room, Grandma Ruth catches my eye and winks. Her silver hair is coiled like a crown. She knows what's coming. She started what's coming. Brielle keeps going, turning the screw. Success without gratitude is just a fancy way to say selfish. Some people think money replaces character. She's mid-crescendo when the ballroom doors open and 3 people step in. Not movie theater FBI, no sunglasses at night, but the kind of official that makes civilians intuitively shove their hands where everyone can see them. 2 investigators in suits that don't try too hard, and 1 uniform. The lead flashes a badge. His voice doesn't need a mic. Brielle Whitfield? The microphone trembles. Yes? You're under arrest for theft, fraud, and falsifying charitable records. Please step away from the equipment. The silence is a living thing. Crystal ticks on stems. Someone exclaims, "Oh my God," and then regrets the volume. Handcuffs catch the chandelier light. I don't cheer. I don't flinch. I just breathe for the first time in 6 years without waiting for someone to tell me I'm too much. My parents appear like they've been conjured by indignation. My father's face is storm cloud gray. "Rowan, what did you do?" he demands, as if I keep a warrant printer in my purse. Grandma's voice slices through. "She did nothing but show up, Stephen." Ruth rises with all 5 feet of moral authority. "I handed the evidence to the state. I warned you months ago that your favorite child was living beyond her receipts. You didn't want to listen. You hired someone to dig up dirt on your own granddaughter," my mother gasps, scandalized by the wrong thing. "I hired someone to dig up the truth," Ruth says. Dirt was already there. The room becomes a hive of whispers. Danny's husband counts under his breath like he's measuring shockwaves. The band quietly kills the music and pretends to examine sheet music they've seen 1,000 times. An investigator peels off from the cluster and approaches me. "Ms. Vale?" he asks, neutral. "That's me. We'll need a quick statement later. For now, can you confirm you had no involvement in hiring Ridgewood and Hale?" "I didn't," I say. "She hired them to investigate me. The investigator followed her money instead of my life." He nods. Unintended boomerang. It happens. When the doors shut behind Brielle, the energy collapses like a tent in a windstorm. People sit heavily. Someone sobs. Someone else mutters a prayer. The cake stands untouched, a monument to the party we were supposed to have. I sit at Ruth's table. She reaches for my hand and squeezes once, hard. "Proud of you," she says like it's the easiest sentence in the world, for staying quiet when a megaphone would have been so satisfying. I swallow the lump that tries to climb my throat. "You detonated a landmine and brought a fork to eat cake with it," she grins. "Didn't raise you to be boring." Aunt Kim edges close, cheeks blotchy. "Rowan, we donated to Brielle's gala. Is the money just gone?" "Not all of it," I say gently. But some. The AG will handle restitution. There'll be a process. It's not your fault you believed her. It was designed to be believable. My father drifts near like a ship that lost its anchor. He looks old in a way I've never let myself see. We might lose the house. He says to no one in particular. I think about all the times he held real estate like a weapon, all the ways a mortgage equaled morality in his head. I feel not satisfaction, exactly. More like a closing of books, debits and credits, the balance finally real. Hours later, after statements and murmurs and plans for Grandma to still get cake because justice doesn't cancel birthdays, Ruth taps the mic. The band abandoned. Before we pretend tonight didn't happen, she says, voice steady, I want to say something about Rowan. She scans faces. Some flinch, expecting condemnation by habit. Leaving this family when it refused to value you wasn't betrayal, she says. It was survival. And what you've built? She squeezes my fingers. Real work. Work that protects people. I should have said this louder and sooner. I'm proud of you. It lands in me like a sunrise, not the version I begged for as a kid. A crumb tossed for good behavior. This is clean. It's not contingent. It's mine to keep. We bring Ruth her cake. She makes a wish. I don't ask what it was. She's had enough of people asking her to be useful to their stories. 18 months later, I stand in an office that used to smell like overpriced candles and staged empathy. The sign out front reads, the Whitfield Digital Futures Center now, because I bought my sister's dead nonprofit for $1 and rebuilt it into something that actually exists. Iron Harbor still hums across 4 states, but this place is personal. We teach teens how to stay safe online, how to code, how to tell the difference between influence and influence. Saturday signups just hit 30, our program director Maya says, rolling by with a tablet. 3 kids from the respite home want to learn Python. The language, not the snake. Tell them we'll feed them and nobody has to be cool to be welcome, I say. Also, order more pizza. She salutes and disappears, leaving the kind of joy most balance sheets forget to count. My phone pings. Ruth Whitfield, Sunset Pines Assisted Living. Subject, Sunday dinner? I stare at the email, smiling before I even open it. The invitation is simple. No manipulation, no strings. Just a grandmother asking her granddaughter if she's free for pot roast and card games. Absolutely. I'll bring lemon bars, I type back. Another ping, Miles. State approved the $48 million infrastructure contract. Proud of you, boss. I lean against the window and watch Denver glitter. We used to be a team of 4 eating pad thai on keyboards. Now we run 24-hour rotations. A war room with maps and red dots and an oh hell button nobody touches lightly. Our software has stopped hospital ransomware twice in the last quarter. When I can't sleep, I read the thank yous from nurses and city clerks who don't know my face and never need to. On my desk sits a framed photo, not of me in a magazine, not a ribbon cutting. It's a snapshot of Ruth on her 81st, wearing a paper crown, laughing so hard her shoulders shook. The cake is crooked. The frosting is loud. It's perfect. My phone lights with a text from Danny. Local news did a piece on the center. Mom saw it. She said, you know what she said. I do know. I also know what to do with it. I set the phone down gently, like a hot coal I choose not to hold. Hey, Maya says, looping back into my doorway. There's a kid waiting in the lobby. Her name's Janelle. Her school counselor told her about the mentorship series you run, the one for women building stuff while their families freak out. She asked if she's too late to not give up. My throat tightens. Bring her in. Janelle appears, high ponytail, eyes calculating exit routes, hoodie like armor. She perches on the chair like it might bite. I heard you. Cut your family off, she says, chin jutted, daring me to judge. And still, didn't die. Yeah, I say, soft and simple. I didn't die. I built. And guess what? Statistically, one of us cries in the first 10 minutes of these sessions. It's usually me. Her grin is involuntary and fast. I make great playlists, she blurts. For coding, I mean. It helps me focus. You're hired, I say, deadpan. She blinks. I add, kidding. Mostly. Bring one Saturday. We talk about boundaries and budgets, possibility and shame. I tell her what Dr. Sanchez told me during one bleak winter. You can't make people see you. You can only stop living like their blindness is your responsibility. She scribbles it down like it's a cheat code. Maybe it is. After she leaves with a list, I drive to Sunset Pines. Ruth destroys me at gin rummy and feeds me a dinner that tastes like childhood without the part that hurt. We talk about mundane stuff, her book club, my ridiculous new espresso machine, whether I'm still seeing Luca, the renewable energy guy who sends me photos of small towns that just lit up for the first time. Does he make you laugh? She asks. Same question as last year. Stupidly, I say. Good, she says. You deserve soft. Later, my phone shows 6 missed calls from an unknown number I already know. I let them live in voicemail purgatory. I owe my past empathy. I don't owe it access. On the drive back, the skyline looks less like sharp edges and more like possibility. My life is not a rebuttal anymore. It's just mine. I park, grab my journal from the console, and write 3 lines. I thought survival would look like a bunker. It looks like a classroom and a card table. It sounds like Ruth's laugh in an inbox that isn't a threat. People ask if it felt good when the cuffs clicked. I tell them justice rarely feels good, it feels clean. Those aren't the same. I didn't win because my sister fell. I won because I stopped building my house on their opinion of me. Family is who shows up when the sirens get loud. Sometimes that's blood. Sometimes it's the guy who brings you dumplings at midnight because the firewall won't compile. Sometimes it's an old woman in a paper crown telling a room full of cowards that you are not a disgrace. If tonight is a grenade, my name's already on the pin. Turns out, I learned how to throw it, walk away, and build a city where no one has to duck.